Hey, Catalyst crew. Welcome to Catalyst Corner, episode number 21. It's Thursday, so you know we've got Jim F0123 Art on with us, and yeah, let's get into it. How you doing, Jim?
Doing good. How you been?
Not bad. Every day is a new adventure.
Always.
You know, some exciting stuff with the store. We get some movement. You know, we got some licensing and everything.
Yeah, stuff is happening.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
Very exciting.
Getting a lot of love internationally with the cast.
Yeah, that's interesting to see.
And definitely a mixed bag on our feelings about the Queen.
Yes.
Gotten a lot of people that have said to me that I am looking at it like an alien, I guess. But to me, I think it's more, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing what that title means to people in the UK as opposed to here in the US.
Yeah, the monarchy is very, very, very strange to me, but you know, it's all right. We don't dislike anybody.
We don't
for
hate.
loving,
no hate.
And I would expect you guys to show us the same amount of love.
Exactly.
Just because we don't love them, but
right.
You know, it is what it is. So, I wanted to start off this week. Getting colder.
It is starting to get cold.
And Halloween is approaching.
Halloween, one of my absolute favorite time of year, I have to admit.
Yeah, same. I love some Halloween.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so part of that is, you know, these movies start coming out.
Yeah, it's always a great time of year if you're a horror fan to get some new, well, sometimes cool, sometimes not so cool movies at this time of year.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, you know, obviously there's they got a lot of people I know are very excited about Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's a cult classic movie, the original one. I just don't know if you could make a second one that's not just a nostalgia thing that people are going to say they enjoy for the sake of it. I just don't know how it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, the story that needed to be told was told.
Right.
And, you know, I know that it does have a cult following, and, you know, everyone loves Bette Midler and you know, the other two ladies, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess the truth of it is that how much of it is nostalgia versus actually being good.
Yeah, well, it's the same way I feel when they keep on mentioning about making a second Beetlejuice, right? Like, that, you don't need another movie. That story was told.
Right.
Now, I'm sure Tim Burton can come up with an excellent movie and we'll all thoroughly enjoy it, but do we need it? And that's the thing, like, what happens if you put one out and it's terrible and then it tarnishes the legacy of the original? And I think that Hocus Pocus 2 could have that happen, and that would be my fear.
Sure. And I think that's definitely a fair fear for me as well. I think with Beetlejuice, though, they had that animated show as well, so you kind of did get a bit more.
Right, exactly.
So I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm not begrudging them for releasing Hocus Pocus 2. I just think it's such a dangerous game because when you have a fan base, it's akin to Star Wars.
Right.
And I think what we're seeing is that Disney bought up all of these properties, and they are rolling the dice on the nostalgia wagon. And it doesn't seem to be, there's some good stuff that's come out of it.
Sure.
But it doesn't seem to overall be this sort of, you know, glowing success that I think they thought it was going to be.
No.
Star Wars has been very hit or miss.
Yeah.
Marvel is starting to fizzle.
Yeah, Marvel is fizzling big.
And it just kind of seems like, you know, now they're dropping Hocus Pocus 2, and it's like, yeah, you have a fan base. They play Hocus Pocus every night starting October 1st on like Freeform.
Yeah, it actually is on October 1st.
Right.
I saw the schedule, and it absolutely is on the first day of the 31 nights of Halloween.
Right, right. So my point to it is, I guess, is that we have this, we have this beloved property again, right? That the fans are diehard about. How can you live up to that sort of it? Like, nothing will live up to that expectation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I think that, Top Gun Maverick really has changed the playing field, right? Because that movie was so successful for a nostalgia-based style movie, but the original movie, as good as it is, it's one of those movies that people enjoy, but I wouldn't say it's a cult classic movie. I just think it's one of those movies that when it came out, people enjoyed it. People still enjoy it, but I don't think it's a beloved property.
Now, would you say maybe that it's the exception to the rule?
I would say it is.
That's what I would think, too.
Yeah.
Is I think the way that the execs are looking at it is that, this proves that this will work. And I think it's more that Top Gun Maverick is an exception to the rule of it's very difficult to capture lightning in a bottle twice.
Right.
Especially with the IPs that have turned into these juggernauts. I mean, did you see the Evil Dead remake?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I mean, it's
decent horror.
Yeah.
But it's not Evil Dead.
No. Again, obviously this isn't a remake. This is a continuation of, part 2 of the original story, which is obviously different than, what we're talking about. But I just think that you run the risk of trying to play on nostalgia too often.
I mean, if you had a story, right? I think it's different if a writer comes up and says, "Look, I got a story."
Yeah.
This came about because every year the fans are saying, "We want another, make a sequel, make a sequel."
Yeah.
So it's not like they had this story in the tank and they were just waiting for the right time.
Right. It's not like Tolkien or The Witcher or what have you, where there's multiple books.
No, it was a one-off made-for-TV film.
Right, exactly. So you don't have any source material that you're going off of. You're just trying to now come up with an original story off of an original story. And, it didn't... And the thing is, it wasn't successful at the time. It's successful now, years later, because it's become...
Yeah, it's a cult classic.
Right. So, again...
Would you want to see a sequel to Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Oh, of course not.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
You would never be able to do it successfully.
Right.
At least in my estimation, you wouldn't.
I guess my point to it is that this is something we have seen over and over and over again, and the people in my life keep talking about how excited they are about this, and it's like, I hope it's good for you guys.
Yeah.
I just think it's a very dangerous game, and there are few stories I think they could tell that would live up to your hype.
Yeah, and you don't want what you don't want is the dreaded, yeah, it was okay, but it's not close to being as good as the original. Because if that's what you're getting, and it becomes just like, it's on, I'll watch it, but yeah, it's not the quality of the first one. It's just there. Well, I mean, that's really not what you were shooting for. And if you're just putting out something where the fan base just feels it's there and it's like, yeah, it's okay. Well, I mean, what it's reminiscent of, like that the Wizard of Oz that came out, the second, you know what I mean, when they did the Mila Kunis one.
Oh yeah, the Return to Oz or whatever.
Yeah. So it's like, does anybody really care about that movie? I mean,
I forgot it existed.
Right, because again, you tried to make a continuation off a classic, and I'm not saying that the movie was terrible, and I'm not saying that people don't enjoy it, but you don't put it in the same category.
No, and a mediocre film even a mediocre sequel can be fine, except when it's like if Terminator 2 was mediocre.
Right.
I don't even think Schwarzenegger's career could have survived that.
No. I mean, you would have ended the franchise. You would have said, yeah, the first one was a phenomenal movie, and
Right,
the second one was,
just,
it was okay. And then if you even bothered to slog through a third one, you'd be like, yeah, stop making these movies. They're just, you had one good idea. I mean, lucky for them, they nailed the second one.
Yeah, the second one is arguably the best film.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of those rare the sequels are better. Like Godfather 2, Terminator 2.
Yeah, Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. There's a couple.
Yeah.
But, so, the reason I brought it up, Halloween and everything, is I watched, I was feeling spooky.
Okay.
And I came across the Rob Zombie
here we go. Here it
of
is.
The Munsters.
Now, this is something, I have not yet seen it, but it is something that I plan on watching very soon.
Okay, so I'll give you a spoiler-free one, but before we even dive into it, I want to just give a brief overview for our listeners that don't know the Munsters.
Okay.
So, the Munsters, what was it, 50s?
Yeah, they're thereabouts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm a big Munsters fan. I've seen all the episodes. I've seen the made-for-TV movies. Big time fan of the original series.
Right. So 1950s-ish, black and white.
Yep.
Right. And it's basically, I would say it's very akin to like the Addams Family.
Yeah. It very, very similar in comedic style and tone.
Right. You got Frankenstein, Dracula's daughter, and then obviously they have a baby.
Yep.
Who's
werewolf.
A werewolf.
Yeah.
And then obviously they have their, what is it, niece? What is she?
Yeah.
Niece.
Yes.
Lives with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then you have
and she's just normal.
Yeah. And then you also have various other
ghouls and ghosts, that
family
show
members
up.
that show up here
and
there.
her being normal, there's a lot of like she'll bring over guys that she's going to bring on a date, and they have to meet the family, and there's that's where and it's very much of its time.
Yes.
Right. Very clean. No, nothing bad ever really happens.
No.
There's some light life lessons, but like nothing that's gonna make you look in the mirror.
Yeah. No. It was all very surface level comedy and surface level.
Yeah, very innocent. Itself.
Very exactly.
Which is fine. It's good. I think of its time, it's good.
Yes.
I don't think you, even if you nailed it, I don't think it works today.
No, because again, you were talking about the clean cut image of that era, just with monsters.
So, without giving away the plot, I guess after it was done, my first thought was, who the fuck let him make this?
Yeah. It's not because it's, sometimes you have these directors where, like, look, they've achieved so much, they can do whatever they want, and if they just want to do something to dick around, you let them. Rob Zombie hasn't earned that.
I think we kind of covered this. You watched that film, what was it? The Watch? What was the one with the psychic that Sam Raimi did?
The Gift?
The Gift, right?
Yes.
And it's just strange that, like, the Munsters is such a departure from Zombie's traditional.
Yeah.
Like, I was under the impression when I saw Rob Zombie, I was like, oh, do you remember back in like 2008, I believe it was, they tried to revamp the Munsters?
Yeah.
The Mockingbird Lane, but they tried to make it a little grittier.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
No, did not work at all.
Because how could it work? That's not what they are.
Right. No.
So, I was like, all right, Rob Zombie, the Munsters, like, this is going to be probably along the lines of that, is what I expected, at least going in.
Yeah, I'm thinking, when I originally heard it, I was thinking you're going to get whatever, the Rob Zombie style movies.
Yeah, very dirty.
Yeah,
like
very dirty, sweaty,
right,
gritty.
Yep, exactly.
Tons, absolute filth, just with the Munsters,
and that's the aesthetic.
playing the role.
Just to be clear, that's not me saying his films are filth. His aesthetic, I would classify
dirty.
as just dirty.
Yeah. Very sweaty, very dirty, very grungy.
And I really liked his version. I didn't like the story so much, but I liked his version of The Shape because I think it works. I think having a hulking, dirty tower of a man murdering people is a lot more terrifying than just a normal dude.
Sure. Absolutely.
But I thought, the first remake was okay of Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did like the origin story for Michael Myers.
Yeah,
I thought he did a very good job when he dove into the childhood. Like I was on board with that first one, and then the second one.
I was excited when the second one got announced.
Terrible. Yeah.
And then he talked about how one of the girls was the chick from who played the kid in the old ones, right? And I was like, oh, he gets it.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, that we're not going to do the hospital. And I was like, okay, I was still with him.
Yeah.
And then that shit with the fucking white horse and everything.
Yeah,
and
it just went off the rails.
So to reel it back in, because I don't want to shit on that. I do like the Devil's Rejects trilogy, though. I think overall that's pretty solid. So and Lords of Salem is just okay.
Yeah.
But so the Munsters, it starts.
Yeah.
And it's doing its thing and everything. And it seems like he tried really hard to capture, that 50s, 60s sort of feel.
Yeah, okay.
It's in color.
Yeah, that doesn't work for me.
Right, of course not. Because, the whole point to it was they were painted to kind of reflect the black and white. Were they painted in color? Sure. But the makeup style was to accent their features on a black and white screen.
Yeah.
So then you have that in color, and it looks like a cartoon.
Yeah, that's like when they did the movies, like the made-for-TV movies in the 80s, that's where it fell apart for me, because once they started colorizing it, it lost the appeal. Because
it's not. I think part of the appeal of the black and white is that it reminds you of Frankenstein, like the 20s horror flick.
The Universal horror movies.
Right.
It was reminiscent of that.
And then as soon as you bring it into
becomes
color,
cartoony.
Right, it loses a bit of magic. So it's in color first of all.
Yeah.
And do you know what the story's about?
No, I have no idea at the moment.
Do you want me to just leave it so you can go blind, or you want me to tell you the synopsis?
No, you can say the synopsis.
So it's basically I would call it a prequel.
Okay.
Okay, like before Lily and Herman got married.
Ah, okay.
And it's not, I guess the thing of it is like, I wouldn't say the guy who played Herman was overtly bad. But he was like trying to be Herman from the TV show, and it's like, but you're not him.
Right.
So that didn't really work. Grandpa was kind of his own animal, which was odd. And then obviously Lily was terrible.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why. I mean, I guess I know why, but him casting his wife in every female role when she's not a great actor proves problematic.
Yeah. I mean, look, if I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it's it is full on nepotism, and I'm not saying that it was wrong to do for some of the movies he did, but I mean, come on, you have to sometimes stray from the wife, and not in this in this sense, not the other sense, but in this sense, stray from the wife and go with another woman that can actually pull the role off.
It was just very distracting, and the other thing that really threw me off, and maybe people who didn't grow up with the TV show, because even me, I'm younger than you, but I mean I grew up with the show too, right? Like I met Grandpa.
Right, exactly.
He was in fucking a grocery store selling his macaroni.
Yeah.
So figure that one out.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I got a connection to this series. And it was very jarring to see them try to mimic the mannerisms and the way that these characters speak. And so I'm sitting there thinking to myself, because normally when you do like a reboot, right?
Yeah.
You have to bring your own spin to the character.
Right.
not mimic,
Yeah.
what came before. Because
No.
that doesn't work.
No, not at all.
Because if that's what you're doing, when it was going through it, I was sitting there going like, why the fuck? Why did you even make this? If you're just
right.
like the character, there's nothing new
Yeah.
from any of the characters. And without giving anything away, not that there's anything to give away, it just ended very abruptly. And I was sitting there after it was over just going like, this is a train wreck.
Yeah.
So I think I want you to watch it.
I'm definitely going to watch it because I'm a fan of the show, and I certainly want to watch it. But what's troubling to me is the Munsters are on every day, multiple times a day. So it's not like you're bringing back a dead property that you want people nowadays to see. The Munsters are on. If you want to watch the Munsters, they're on every single day.
I just think it's very odd because it's not something I could ever see coming back.
No, because you can't have that style of show in today's world because it doesn't. It works when you watch it today because it was made then. But you can't try to make a show like the 50s now because it's not gonna grab the audience that you're looking to get.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was reading a little bit. I heard he's a huge fan of the Munsters.
Sure, I'm sure he is.
And I guess this is his love letter to them. But I mean,
yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, your love letter to them is taking a gigantic shit all over the property.
Yeah. So, I mean, give it a watch.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Next episode, I just,
Yeah.
we won't go as deep into it as this,
Right,
but I'm just curious because I was gobsmacked is the word that I would use.
There you go.
Because I just couldn't. So then after it was over, right, I was like, I was so in shock. I went and watched the Mockingbird Lane.
Oh, did you?
Because I was like, can this property actually be remade? No. Nope.
No, it can't. It can't. And that's what, and just real quick, that's what made the Addams Family movie what I find so enjoyable is because although you're taking, the characters from the TV show, it was definitely its own thing.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Netflix does with Wednesday.
Yeah, I am very interested in that as well.
And I'm good with Louis Guzman being, there was
I am.
You know what's crazy is
so good with that.
Is a lot.
I love Louis Guzman.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit more on Halloween and then we'll move on. A lot of people were giving him shit because they have Raul Julia in their head as Gomez, not understanding that the whole deal was Gomez was always a short.
The funny thing is, if you look at the comic strip that it's made from, he looks exactly like him.
And the whole thing is that his wife is smoking hot.
Yeah,
but
and she's also, he's like,
but he just
5'5", and she's like 6'2".
But
that's in the comic, and that's the way it goes.
But he just loves and accepts her for all the weird shit,
right?
And that's all part of his charm. It's not he's this suave motherfucker, but you get Raul Julia, who obviously oozed fucking. Right. But I'm excited. I'm curious to see what they do. I'm not incredibly optimistic. I think Catherine Zeta is an interesting choice.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
But I'll give it a shot. I mean, I'll watch the Munster. It can't be fucking worse than the Munster.
Absolutely not.
So, yeah, that's it. I mean, it was a trip down the nostalgia lane, only to see that the house is on fire.
Yeah, unfortunately.
How about you? You watch anything?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the Netflix show that's on the series of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Ah.
So I'm going to preface this by saying you cast Evan Peters as Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, did a great job.
Evan Peters is a very beloved actor in everything that he's in.
Oh,
he's
great.
So how do you how do you dislike a serial killer if you love the actor who's portraying it, right? Because now you have a love for that actor.
Well, they did it with Ted Bundy too. They made Zac Efron Ted Bundy.
Yeah, but Zac Efron, right? And I don't know if he's got the same fan base.
No,
like
no.
if it was the High School Musical days and you did it, then yes. But like Evan Peters right now, the fan base that he has, you're going to be hard pressed.
Do you know what my problem with it all is that I watched it too, and I thought he did a stellar job.
Yes,
but I think where people miss it is the whole point of it is he's supposed to be charismatic and good looking or whatever because he lured these men into his web.
Right.
But what it's translating to is just, oh, I love Evan Peters, so I love, and this is the 20th Dahmer story that they've done. How many fucking times do you need to tell a story?
Right. And so I think, again, not to downplay the victims, which they didn't, right? I mean, they did not downplay the victims and the tragedy of it all. What I think they were trying to do, though, is I think the show was based on don't miss the signs of your child who may be suffering from whether it be, like bipolar or
I think it's depression coupled with antisocial personality disorder.
And a need for acceptance, a need to not be abandonment issues. And I think what they were trying to play was to understand, maybe this all could have been prevented if not for missing the warning signs. So parents, don't miss the warning signs. Not saying that your kid is going to turn into Jeffrey Dahmer, but they could, something bad could happen if you don't pay attention to the warning signs and get them the help, whether it's medical, therapy, whatever it might be, and don't just ignore it. And he has to then find ways to deal with what he's going through.
I think it's a very delicate tightrope with serial killer films because they're very entertaining.
Yes.
I mean, as far as like everyone I talk to loves to watch, it's the car accident thing,
yes.
right? Like you can't look away,
right?
But at the same time, especially with something like Dahmer, right? These people, the family members that are left behind, have had to endure film after film after documentary of
seeing their loved one
murder
die,
and especially in this one, and I struggle with it because like if you were doing like an H.H. Holmes sort of thing and it was 150 years ago and everybody's long gone, maybe. But I think it's hard right now because it's not even, it's 30 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, it's not that long ago that this all happened.
Right. And there's no way to separate Evan Peters from Jeffrey Dahmer.
No.
Do you know? I think that's kind of one of the dangerous things of casting someone famous to play that sort of role.
And then, at the end when he gets killed, he comes off sympathetic and you have empathy for him because...
Well, do you remember a couple years ago they came out with that My Friend Dahmer show?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so I watched the first 25 or 30 minutes of that, and I shut it off because... And the reason I shut it off, and I never went back to it, is they make you feel bad for him.
They do, because he was a kid trying to fit in with friends.
Right, and as soon as that started happening, I turned it off because I was like, I understand that he's a human, and I'm sure that all of that was incredibly traumatic as it would be for any of us. But don't make me feel bad for this piece of shit.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing, right? The thing is, he's what he's saying is, look, I know what I did.
Right.
And I deserve to die for what I did.
Right.
But I also didn't do it for I didn't do it for entertainment. I didn't do it because I love killing. I didn't do it because I want to watch the world burn. I did it because I was lonely and I
does
wanted.
the why matter?
No. But the issue then becomes when you say it like that, right? Like take a John Wayne Gacy, right?
Sure.
He just or a Night Stalker, right? Or a Ted Bundy. These guys all killed for the love of killing. There was no remorse.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem with it all, right? I can sit here, you can give me a killer, and I can argue a sympathetic cause for any of them. Because
Sure.
that's just, that, yeah. Oh, yeah, John Wayne Gacy, well, he was a homosexual that struggled with it because back then, and he didn't know how to let it go, and then obviously that manifests into, like, who fucking cares?
Right. But I think that his thing was when he was right before he died, he was mentioning, hey, I never tortured anybody. They were all passed out. Dahmer. He was like, they were all passed out. When I killed them, they never felt it. Right. And so I think they want to be like, he killed them, but he also didn't torture them. Right. Again, trying to play, I think, on sympathy. And I'm like, well, but it's no matter how you lay it out, the families that 17 people were murdered by this guy, and these families have to live without these loved ones.
But don't worry, he didn't torture them.
Right. And I don't think that, so does that really matter?
I think what it is for me is it's always a tragedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always a tragedy when mental health goes unchecked.
Yeah.
And, whether you want to argue it's evil or evil is real or whatever, none of the people that have committed any of these atrocities are of sound mind.
No.
Never.
Of course not.
Never. And so it's a tragedy that it gets missed.
Right.
And that, do we let them down in that instance? Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We as a society were unable to see it.
Sure.
He was allowed to kind of manifest his loneliness into something incredibly destructive.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a tragedy.
It is.
For him and his family as well.
Right.
That being said, unfortunately, we're not at a point where we can recognize these things maybe every time.
Right.
And to sit there and go, well, he's a human. Well, yeah, but so were the other 17 people.
Right. Right. And I think
who didn't ask for this.
Right. And I think that the problem is that, we can't just sit there and say, well, because it was missed, it becomes justifiable because we didn't have the means, or we didn't see the signs, or we don't have the medication right now to handle those type of things, so therefore these things are gonna. No, I mean,
and I don't think anyone is arguing that it's not even from his perspective a tragedy.
Right. Oh, it absolutely is.
But at the same time, hey, I'm not feeling too good. Like, I'm having some really messed up thought. Go fucking talk to someone.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not like this manifests overnight. It's not like he got hit in the fucking head and then woke up the next day and was like, all right, I'm hungry.
Right. I mean, this started at like a relatively young age.
Right.
Your teens.
Go
like,
to therapy, bro.
Yeah. Talk to somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I'm not doing so hot.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not saying that it would have cured all and maybe still something would have happened.
Maybe.
We don't know because we can't say, but I'm just saying, like, we can't just put the spotlight on these serial killers and keep on making them into something which they aren't, which is, we're idolizing them in a sense.
Well, yeah, that's kind of something I wanted to talk to you about. Is I just think the way that Netflix kind of, goes about this shit. It's like, stop saying that it's anything more than you trying to make money.
Right.
You're not honoring the victims by like, that's the thing. There is nothing you can do You want to know how you honor the victims if you need to make media out of it? Go and tell each one of their stories and don't don't mention him.
Well, in my point, I guess, as right from the start of this thing is, if you weren't meant to sway it to the side of Dahmer, you don't hire Evan Peters to play the role.
Yeah, no shit, huh? Like you can't bring on an arguably an A-list in the horror community actor to play a serial killer. Like, he's one of the ones that always gets sympathy too, because they've from the beginning they've played the loner.
But I mean, you have Evan Peters, who is an A-lister in the horror community and an A-lister in the comic book community.
Right.
You have such a large fan base from different genres.
Right.
So don't sit there and tell me that wasn't a calculated play to sway the opinion of this.
Was this Ryan Murphy too?
That I'm not sure.
I'd be curious to see, because I know he does like American Horror Stories, so I know they have a relationship.
Yeah, I'm not positive on that.
I don't know. It's not even to say that it's in bad taste, because I mean, again, it's the 20th fucking film, movie, whatever the series, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's just, look, if you want to make the movie because people are going to find it entertaining and you got a good actor to play the guy and, you feel like you can nail the situation, that's fine. But don't sit there and think you're the good guy in this scenario.
Right.
Because you're not.
No, exactly.
That's a piece of shit thing to do to a family that lost their loved one in a horrendous way.
Yeah.
And whether they felt pain or not, he's drilling it. He's drilling into their fucking brains and shit.
And and even though it's a show, right? This happened in real life, and these people who lost their family members are gonna be reading about how awesome Evan Peters is as Jeffrey Dahmer.
Well, I mean, when it first came out, they do the fucking media circus, right? Oh, Evan Peters as Jeffrey Dahmer is fucking, he nailed the role.
Yeah. Oh, he's awesome. Oh,
he's awesome.
Right. That's what you lost your son, and you're going to hear how awesome Jeffrey Dahmer is being portrayed by Evan Peters. No.
Every one of the victims' families has been asking since the beginning for them to stop doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's bizarre to me. Like, here's the thing is, I'm cool with them doing it because I'm a psycho. Like, if you want to make these movies, I'll watch them.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm disrespecting the family by doing it.
Sure.
And is it right? No, I'm the bad guy in this situation.
Right.
So don't anybody in society that's saying that we're not being pieces of shit for watching this.
We are, because we're finding entertainment value in
others'
people's murders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are absolutely the bad guys in this.
And that's the thing is, like, I'm right with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
me too.
But don't sit there and pretend like, be holier than thou with shit. Like,
right.
No, you didn't make it, but you're watching it. And if you didn't watch it, then they wouldn't make it.
Right, you're watching it and enjoying it.
But if you didn't watch it, they wouldn't make it.
Right.
Right. So I think that's kind of my take on us as a society.
Sure.
Is that, like, I'm cool with us. This isn't me, like, trying to, be religious and be like, well, you can't do this.
Right.
No, do it. But just understand what it is.
Right.
It's us getting entertainment.
Right. Yeah, understand your role in why these things continue to happen.
That's the problem with it all, is that the viewer is like, well, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Well, it is, though, because you watched it.
Yeah.
Did you, and again, this is not me saying that, people that watch this movie are advocating for Jeffrey Dahmer.
Of course not.
It's just that, just understand what it means if you watch it, enjoy it, and talk about it. Is that the family asked us not to do that, and we basically are telling them to go fuck themselves.
Right.
Oh, you lost your son to a serial killer? Sucks to be you, but we're going to watch it.
Yeah. Over and over again, every time it's on.
Right. 20 films later. So if you asked me to shut it down, I would. I think it's fucked up. I don't think we should do it. But if you do it, I'm going to watch it.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to find entertainment out of it. And if that makes me a piece of shit in the views of society, well, I'll accept that.
But it doesn't, though.
No. You're right.
See, that's the thing is
You're
that in
right.
the views of society, it doesn't
You're
because
right.
they don't even cover that. My point to it is that, and I don't think it makes you a piece of shit as a human.
No.
I just think that just understanding this particular scenario, even the audience is the bad guy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And we all have to be okay with that. Just accept it for what it is.
Right.
And be okay with it.
That's what I'm saying is like just instead of pushing it down and ignoring it, look at it in the cold light of day. The family asked us not to do this shit. We're doing it, and we're enjoying it.
Yep.
So just be okay with, kind of being a piece of shit with that.
Yeah.
Does it mean that you're a piece of shit, period?
Yeah,
No.
absolutely not.
Of course not. Life is too complex for that. But
Right.
in this instance, yes, that's a garbage thing to do.
Right. Yeah. So absolutely watch it. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, oh, it's great.
You're all pieces of shit in my eyes.
Yeah, it's really good. He does a good job.
He does do a good
It's
job.
creepy. He's
Yeah.
creepy. Yeah. I got to tell you, though, like, I don't know that I would ever, I don't know I'd ever go with someone like that, though.
No.
You know?
If you were a gay man and he approached you?
Yeah. There was something off about it. And
Yeah.
then you get there and it smells like rotten corpse.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, it's my pork chops." It's like, bro, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You enjoy your pork chops. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go.
I got a thing.
I'm gonna
So,
go as
yeah.
soon as I walk down the hall. Even if he gets me into the building,
Yeah.
right? The minute you smell the dead bodies, and he's like, "It's my pork chops."
It's like, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
want to find out
what?
either
You,
way.
you keep those pork chops.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
I'm
enjoy
gonna
those
go.
pork chops, and they've probably
Yeah.
been around
Yeah,
for a
you
few
should
days.
probably get rid of them.
Yeah, you may
It's
want
my
to.
fish.
Yeah.
My fish has it. Stupid fucking. What a and like, it's just bizarre to me because he screams serial killer.
He does. He's a creepy.
Yeah.
He gives you the creeps, and if he didn't,
Like
you know.
and I'm not even talking about Evan Peters' portrayal of it. Like even
Yeah.
just look at him in the fucking interviews.
Yeah.
He's a creep. He's like, yeah. And
Yeah.
people romanticize this shit, and it's like when you actually look at the man, he's like, my fish had ick. It's like, shut the fucking loser.
Hey, what is wrong with you?
Oh man, serial killers are the worst.
No, they are the worst.
Oh.
But we watch them and we'll
Well, they're
continue to watch them.
entertaining.
Yeah,
They're entertaining.
And if you put if there's going to be 5 more Jeffrey Dahmer movies that come
Every
out,
one of them's gonna
every
get
one
watched.
will be watched.
I know. It's just so strange to me.
It is. It's
I will say this, and then we'll put this part of it to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the Ted Bundy tapes or whatever the fuck
yes.
that was?
Yeah.
When he was in court, this is something that caught me off guard. I was fucking rooting for him. Like, oh, maybe he's gonna get off. Good for him.
Yeah.
Like, and then I stopped and I go, wow, he probably would have fucking killed me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get someone with a high level of intelligence, with a lot of charisma.
Yeah.
You're going to get lost in that.
But I think what's weird to me is that you can have someone like that, right? And that makes sense to me. Like, he's very charismatic. He's very intelligent. He's well-spoken. Of the time, he's a good-looking dude.
Yeah.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have fucking, my fish had ick. Like, how the fuck does that work? How does that work?
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, well, you enjoy that. I'm out.
Just bizarre. Just bizarre. All right, Jeffrey. Idiot. So let's move on
Sure.
from that. Let's
lighten it up.
Let's put Jeff to bed.
Yes.
Fucking. Speaking of Evan Peters and being in the comic book kind of fandom and everything. So obviously pretty big announcement.
Yeah, very big.
From one Mr. Ryan Bartholomew Reynolds.
Yes.
So we're getting Deadpool 3
Yes, we are.
in 2024
Mm-hmm.
with Huey Louie.
I'm going to say this is Marvel's Hail Mary
Yes.
for how bad Phase 4 is done.
Now here's the problem. Have you read the reports that the Blade movie they lost their director?
They lost the director.
And it's in trouble.
Yes.
The problem is this, and I've been saying this since the beginning. Some characters are rated R characters.
Yeah.
Blade is a rated R character. You cannot tell a good Blade story that's PG-13. You can't bring vampires into this universe.
Or you get Morbius.
Yes, you do.
That's what happens.
That's right. Morbin time. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You can't have vampires that aren't killing people violently, right? And you can't make a PG-13 movie where the humans are cattle and you need someone to kill the vampires incredibly violently to save the humans.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Right.
So what you have is Mashallah Ali, who's awesome.
Awesome.
Who's a great choice to take it up from Wesley Snipes.
Tremendous choice.
Stuck in an awful situation.
Mm-hmm.
He can't even say motherfucker or, cut off a head.
Right.
You can't even cut a head off.
You could barely see blood in a Marvel movie.
Right. So the problem is that even though you have Wolverine, if you put Disney's stink on this, it's going to tank.
It will. So I heard something interesting. So obviously we know that Marvel bought Fox.
Yeah.
Got the rights back.
Right.
What I found out is that the contracts to the actors who were in the X-Men did not end with the buyout. Meaning that you cannot put certain characters until 2025 unless it's those actors portraying those characters.
Interesting. So that's why we have no X-Men then.
Right. So they're not going to do anything until 2025 when they can recast everybody that they want.
So Feige, so that makes a lot more sense then, because Feige's in a very tough place.
Right.
Because the stories that they're telling are mediocre at best.
Yes.
And we're all sitting there going, where's Fantastic Four? Where's Doctor Doom? Where's X-Men?
Yeah.
And obviously we got a little taste.
Right.
And it's like, you can't cast.
Right. So you can cast Hugh Jackman as Wolverine,
but no one else.
But you can't cast anybody else until 2025.
Interesting. Not that I think you could put anyone but Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in a Deadpool movie with the establishment that they've done over the last 3.
Right.
But I just think I think it's interesting, and I'm fine with them trying. Like, you want to try to salvage kind of the Deadpool thing, that's cool, but if you're not going in hard R, it's not going to work. You can't, because the first 2 are hard R movies.
Right. And then you take arguably the best Wolverine movie, which is also hard R, in Logan.
Yep.
And you're not, unless you're going to give me Deadpool and Logan in that aesthetic with the hard R.
Which you're not. I mean, you're not going to get low. It's going to be...
Well, it's going to be Wolverine because...
It's going to be pre-Logan Wolverine,
right,
obviously.
exactly. Obviously, because they're going to, they keep on playing up to the year of when Logan took place. So they're saying, obviously, this is taking place prior to Logan, so that's how he's going to be alive.
But I'm just curious to see kind of what they do, because I told you this when they announced Blade. I said if they don't make it R, which they said they're not gonna, it's not gonna work. And the whole reason that they're struggling right now is because there's no story that you can tell that has vampires in it that is PG-13. Unless you want to tell fucking Twilight.
Right. And you're not going to tell, it's the same issue you're going to have with The Punisher. You're not going to get a good quality Punisher show.
But they're digging their heels in. We already told a gritty story about Daredevil. This is going to be a reboot. And it's like, what?
Yeah. But a reboot with the same actor.
But why? I like the Daredevil show on Netflix.
It was awesome.
Just keep doing that.
Right. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to have it not be child friendly.
They don't understand that you can have Matt Murdock in a very adult Daredevil and then go hang out with Spider-Man and have it be for the kids and then still make the toys. You can have that. You can have the Punisher be the Punisher, and then when they need him to help out, have him show up and not be, no killing.
Yeah.
It's what I do. No killing. Okay, great. Now he's not killing. You can make the toys.
I mean, the toys are going to sell. And I've said this before, and if I'm repeating myself, but back in wrestling in the WWF, when we had the Attitude Era, it was very much not kid-friendly, and toys sold incredibly well.
But even taking a lot of it out, even saying like Daredevil, whatever, I just don't know what kind of a story you tell with Blade if he's not fighting and murdering vampires.
Well, you can't tell any story. I mean, yeah, sure. What you can do is make him a part of the Midnight Suns, and then then what you're going to do is you're going to tell a cosmic story. You're going to have you're going to go after Galactus
right, we're back
something.
to cosmic again.
Right.
I think what sucks the most is that there's just such potential for these kind of like, it's weird to me that they won't lean into that. Like, just have Blade. Like, Blade doesn't need to be a part of the MCU in the traditional sense. He doesn't need to be a fucking Avenger.
The thing is, the movies and TV shows that they've been putting out for Phase 4 have been more lighthearted, more child, oriented.
Right, which is cool. Like,
yeah, but it's failing miserably.
I know, but the problem is this, right? Is that when I saw Iron Man, Iron Man was 15 years ago?
Yeah.
So I was, in my teens. And I've been watching these for the 10 years that it took to get to Endgame, right? So now I'm an adult.
Right.
And it's like, okay, but you've had me watch these for the last 10 years. So I'm part of your target audience.
Sure.
And if I don't like it, then I'm not going to subscribe to Disney Plus. And, that's just going to be what it is. Or I won't watch it,
Yeah.
So I get that they're trying to make it for, a younger audience. And I'm cool with that to an extent.
To an extent.
But my point is that, like, if the kid needs to see, if some of the shows are for the kids, right? That's fine. And if it all leads into the Avengers, which is kind of that weird, PG-13 realm, that's also fine. But let me watch Blade kill some fucking vampires.
Right.
Let me watch Deadpool be Deadpool. And that's for me. And so then what you've done is you have generational people that have bought into this franchise, as opposed to it just being like, yeah, we go and my kid likes it.
Yeah.
But I hate it now.
But here's, and I'll give you a prime example, right?
Sure.
Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Moon Knight was terrible.
I think it was good for yeah, it wasn't.
I'm saying Moon Knight as a comic book show.
Oh yeah, as a comic book show.
Not the stuff dealing with
and
mental illness.
There's no more coming, right?
Not nothing announced. So it didn't do well in ratings.
No.
People didn't like it.
Everything has been very forgettable.
Right. But a kid's going to buy Moon Knight toys because Moon Knight is awesome as a character.
Yeah, like Moon Knight as a character is really cool.
So if a kid didn't watch it, doesn't know who Moon Knight is, but sees that on the shelf, they're going to buy it because he looks awesome.
Right.
And kids want that toy.
Right.
But they're not watching the show. Adults are watching the show, and adults hate it.
You know what the mistake is? Is that they're just focusing on toys. And what happens is if you don't like it and you can't get excited about it and talk to your friends in front of the kids about how excited you are about it, then the kids aren't going to get as excited.
Right.
Like if they made Moon Knight and they made it R, how it should have been. Moon Knight's an R-rated character. Sorry.
It absolutely is.
It would have been good.
Yeah.
Because you can take the leash off and let Moon Knight be Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And people would have been very excited. They would have talked about it in front of their kids. Oh, man, did you catch Moon Knight? Yeah, Moon Knight's awesome. My favorite. and the kids would have wanted to buy the toys because they see how excited you are about it, and maybe they can't watch it because it's too violent, but they hear you talking about the character, which translates to the toy sale.
Right, and they're gonna see, and then you could show them the character of what the character looks like, of who you're talking about, and the kids are gonna be like, "Oh, that's so awesome! I want," and then they're gonna go to the store. And you say, "Oh, go pick out a toy." They're gonna say, "I want that Moon Knight one. Look at how cool that is."
Exactly. They have Moon Knight. Let me get that.
Yeah.
So, I just think it's very interesting to kind of see what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, until the contract expires, this is just kind of where we're headed.
Yeah. But
that's why there's no bad guy.
Yeah. But I mean, again, I don't know how much money they had to shell out to get Hugh Jackman to do it again, and I'm sure it's quite a bit of money. But that being said, it's a Hail Mary pass.
Well, you need something.
Yeah.
Because that, to me, although it was exciting, after the excitement kind of burned off and I came back to reality, I said to myself, like, oh, you're in trouble. Like, you need, like, everything is going to be shitty next year, too. Mm-hmm. Because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be doing something this extreme in 24.
Right.
You know, because I imagine it's probably going to be Marvel fatigue, superhero fatigue is going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe the Flash is going to come out and it's going to rock everybody's socks.
Possibly.
But aside from that, I think everybody's tired. And
yeah, they are.
If you're not bringing anything exciting to the table for another year, and again, what was the last truly exciting superhero film?
I would say No Way Home because of the nostalgia.
Right. So you got hit with that, right? But that was almost a closing.
Yeah.
Kind of a chapter, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, Endgame has been 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah,
right. So we've moved away from that now.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they'll ever be able to. That might have been the watermark.
Yeah. Well, again, you don't have the characters that people want anymore.
Right. But
that
now
are on screen
now is that you can't even utilize things that will get people excited again until 25. Mm-hmm. So the danger of it all is, I mean, it's a tough decision, right? Because you can't use characters that people are excited about. You refuse to lean into the R-rated characters and make them R-rated, so you're just wasting those properties.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to burn out another 2 years, essentially, right? So it's like, how are you going to keep the fans invested for 2 years? You're going to give them 2 years of mediocrity?
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to.
And just go like, all right, don't worry, though, in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because, again, they'll make, well, in their mind, they're going to make enough money. I mean, they're really not.
They all do, $1 billion plus for the most part. I mean, all of the movies and stuff do.
Yeah, I mean, again, people are going to see. The thing is, you're going to keep on look, when Black Panther comes out, you're getting the first time ever seeing Namor in live action.
Yeah.
You're going to get people to go just because they want to see.
Well, there's a lot. There's going to be, there's a lot of emotions there and everything.
No, but I'm just saying that you can run out enough first appearances.
Yeah.
It's just like a comic when you release a #1 or you release a comic with a character's first appearance and they sell tremendously well. You're going to sell these movies because they're first appearances of characters that you've never had on screen before. So you're going to get people who are Marvel fans to go because they want to see, an A-list actor portraying a character that they love from the comics for the first time in live action.
Sure.
So you're going to get it. What you're not going to get is people to say the movie was good. You're going to get everybody to go, and you're going to get the money for people going, and you're going to get what you have right now is people saying the movie absolutely sucked.
So I think it goes like this. You have people like me who I've pretty much written it off at this point. Like, I'm out. of
Yeah.
of the Marvel game, you know, and I'll check out Flashpoint, but if it doesn't rock my socks, I'm out of the DC game.
Yeah.
Because nothing at this point has really.
Yeah. I mean, we got Black Adam coming up
Who cares?
this month.
Who cares? Honestly,
Well, I do, only because I'm a fan of The Rock.
So am I,
do
but
want
I
I do want to see his portrayal.
you're gonna go to theaters?
I may.
Really?
Yeah, I may. I may go to. I mean, again, I haven't gone to the theaters. It'll probably be like 4 or 5 months
Yeah.
since I've been.
Yeah.
So I may go check it out in the
Is it
theater.
October
but
or November?
October.
Yeah. All right. It'll do $1 billion.
It should.
I would be surprised if it didn't. I just don't think it's going to be that good.
The only way it's going to be good, or the only way it's going to get word of mouth, is if Cavill shows up in a scene.
Oh, if Cavill shows up, then you've just, you know, that's like stopping your tracks, go see it.
Right.
But if he doesn't, yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah,
Like,
but it has to lead
and
to
here's
something.
the thing, is I'm not saying The Rock's going to be bad as Black Adam.
No.
I just don't think that it's enough.
Well, I just think DC's biggest problem is, like, Black Adam isn't a well-known character for a lot of people.
No.
I mean, The Rock, yeah, everybody knows who The Rock is, and
Right.
people will migrate to movies to see The Rock.
And I think The Rock is a good choice to play Black Adam.
But I just wish that DC would have spent more time worrying about A-list characters before the B and C list characters. Like, I mean, again, we're
Well, Aquaman is on ice right now.
yeah, but we haven't had a Flash movie yet,
No.
and we had Suicide Squad.
One
Twice.
and two. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you one of your biggest A-list. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't appeared. Obviously, he has. I mean, but you have not done a Flash movie, but you've done 2 Suicide Squad movies. How in the world does that make sense?
It's just, I guess the problem is that the company, I mean, it's changed hands. This is going on our 3rd time, and now there's talk of it maybe even moving again.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you keep jumping it from company to company, then there's no one has enough time to have a coherent vision.
Right.
And I think the biggest mistake of all of it was to put Justice League first
Yeah.
before doing Aquaman, Flash, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah. And you know, Cyborg, Green Lantern,
Right.
I think all of that should have happened first.
But they were panicking because they were trying to capitalize on what Marvel had done, and it had taken them 10 years to establish.
Right.
And you can't take that kind of a shortcut, even
No.
though arguably the Snyder Cut is better than the Whedon Cut. It still is what it is
Right.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the better DC films to come out.
Yeah. It's not a perfect
If you're
film
willing
by
to
any
sit
means.
for 4 hours.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's not enough. Like maybe if the rest of this shit comes out and you actually have some feeling for the characters. But aside from that, like we're not getting a Cyborg movie at this point.
No.
Right.
Unless they recast.
Right. So it's like, but how do you want me to care about this shit?
Right.
I don't, and I
No.
don't, and I don't care about it because, yeah, great.
No.
There's-
we only
there's no
care about
establishing.
Batman.
Right.
Batman is the only character that we truly actually care about
But
in the
that's
DC
but
universe.
The thing with Batman is that we've had movies for the past 20 years, you know, pretty consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of how you feel about Batman, he's in the forefront of people's minds.
Right.
You know, and and I like him as a character. And
Yeah.
I think these recent films have all been pretty solid.
Yeah.
But there's no, you know, the TV shows, I guess, right? Like, but that, you know, the CW shows, I just don't.
Yeah, but the CW shows, I mean, again, when Arrow first started was pretty awesome.
Yeah, but he was killing people and shit,
Right.
and it was
then
like rad.
and then it stopped being awesome.
Yeah, as
And then
soon as
the
he
other
stopped killing
shows
people.
became like, no, this is, you know, teenage angst.
Yeah, it's CW is
With-
what I call
yeah,
it.
it's
Like
the-
not that's not a slight against CW. I just think it has a very distinct tone.
No, just like the Hallmark Channel, right?
Yeah.
that's not for me.
You know what you're getting, though.
Right. But there's a lot of people that love it.
Let's touch one more thing and then we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the news that Keanu is coming back to the role of one Jonathan Constantine?
I don't want it.
Neither do I.
Because when Constantine came out, it wasn't well known who that was.
Right.
You Americanized it.
Yep.
Fine. Keanu, big name
Yeah,
actor.
Peter Stahlmeyer as the devil, though. That was cool. And I would even argue that Shia LaBeouf wasn't bad for what he did, and even Gabriel.
But we really didn't know the property. We know the property now.
Sure.
We've seen some pretty great. I mean, Matt Ryan. I don't
Joanna
know
Constantine.
Yeah, I don't know her name, but you've had great depictions of John Constantine now.
Yep.
And as much as I did enjoy the Keanu Reeves movie at the time for what it was, it is not going to land for me now.
Just what story are you going to tell?
Right.
What tale can you possibly tell with old American John Constantine?
Yeah.
That anybody wants to see.
Yeah, I just
listen. I know people love the Keanu version of it. My point to it is that if we're being honest with each other, that's not who the character is.
No. But also 90% of people who saw that movie had no idea there was source material, that this is coming from a comic. We know all this stuff now. We've had many different versions. And not only Matt Ryan on the CW, but the animated, which are tremendous
They're
movies.
all very, very good.
So I just don't see how you're going to pull that off and make it, again, will it make money because
Unless
it's Keanu?
Not, yeah, but
sure.
I mean, are they going to market it as because they didn't market Constantine as a DC movie.
No.
When it came out.
No, and that's what I'm saying. No one had any idea what that was based on.
But I think this is where we start to get into some very dangerous territory. Is we don't have a renewal for the Sandman,
right?
So that's still up in the air, and arguably, I think that's some of the best comic book media that's come out in a while.
Yeah,
and it may be because Neil was deeply involved in it, but I thought it was tremendous.
Yeah,
and I don't think I'm alone in that. I think anyone that's watched it.
It got rave reviews.
And it is very, very good.
Yeah.
So putting that aside, right? You're going to have Keanu Reeves be the Constantine of the DC universe?
Yeah.
The DCEU? Is that really the path you want to go with things?
No, but what you're going to do is you're going to make another misstep in an already completely fractured universe, and you may not be able to pull out of it. At some point, you may have to give up, wipe everything out, and start completely over again, and decanonize everything that you've done, and start with a brand, whatever the starting point is that you want to create from that point.
The thing that's wild is you have the opportunity to do this, though.
Yeah.
Take the flashpoint and have it reset the playing field. You're out.
Yeah, it should be.
That's your out. And what's nice about it is if you want to keep Cavill and even Affleck, you can.
Yeah.
Although I'll tell you, I don't know that I'd keep Affleck. I think he's too unpredictable.
Yeah. I mean, you may want to make that change.
Cavill, you might be able to lock down.
Yeah. I mean, hey, season 3 of The Witcher is over. It's already been filmed.
Yeah,
so
coming out next summer.
He probably has, hopefully, some availability to do something. But the problem is that the people in charge, the reboot was Supergirl, Batgirl, Wonder Woman.
Right, and
that was the reboot.
Batgirl tanked.
Yep.
Batgirl was terrible.
Yep.
Right? And Zaslav got cold feet to push forward with those heroes, which is fine.
Right.
You can just reboot it.
Yeah.
Just use Flashpoint. At the end of the cartoon, he reboots it.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah, instead of rebooting it where Batman and Superman die and you have the trinity of females.
No one has to die. It's Flashpoint.
Right.
Just reboot it.
Right. Reboot it, and if you want to recast the characters with different actors because
Who's the bad guy in Flashpoint? Do we know?
no, I'm gonna say probably
Darkseid?
no. I'm gonna probably say the Reverse Flash, but I don't know.
I don't know about
Because I mean, you're gonna do a point where he is because there's a second Flash in it. Like Ezra Miller is playing two roles.
that. Right, but who's going to be able to do enough damage that they have to reset the world, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess like what Thalm is going to be the fucking catalyst. But
I mean,
but even in the books and stuff, like he set it off, but then like other badder shit ruined it.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you just want to go with the fact, like, hey, I'm trying to clear my dad.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and save my mom,
Yeah.
and then it screws everything up.
Right.
If you just want to go that route, and there is no real big bad that caused it, or maybe it's that he's talking in his ear to get him to go do that, and then
Yeah.
he screws everything up.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to be a real big bad. He just has
just
to be
the catalyst to
right.
kind of. Yeah, I'm with you.
Probably more that
I
vein.
just think you have an opportunity to reset the entire chessboard and still cherry pick the actors that you want to keep.
Right.
So I don't know why you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you absolutely should do that.
Like
I mean,
you could have Flashpoint end, right? Like the reshoot should just be that Barry Allen wakes up and it's not Ezra Miller anymore.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he does they do the run and then all of a sudden it's whoever's going to play the Flash going
see,
forward.
my thing is, I would have if you are dead set on Ezra Miller no longer being the Flash,
Yeah.
then I would hire the next Flash,
Right.
and I would do a reshoot where
Exactly.
at the end
He wakes
that's
up,
the new Flash,
and that's the new Flash, and then we just roll with that, and
Right.
and then you don't have to introduce the new Batman or Superman or Aquaman, and if they're the same, they're the same.
right,
There's no question about it.
right, yeah. If they're the same, they're the same, and if they're not, okay, we understand why they're not. This
David,
is
listen, call us. We
Yeah.
got you.
We
I
got
know
id-
you. Listen, I got you, dude.
Yeah.
I want this to work.
yeah. We know you're listening to the podcast.
Obviously.
You're taking ideas. Just talk to us directly.
Right.
There's no need to go backdooring us.
Right. I'm willing to help.
Yeah. It's not it's going to cost, but we'll help.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got to keep the light. What do
Right.
you think? What do you
Yeah.
think? This shit is free?
Right, yeah.
All right. Listen, let's put this one to bed.
Yeah.
Covered a bit,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say, Jim, as always, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's going on? What we got going on?
Well, as hopefully everybody knows, we got issue 1 of Eva out now on Webtoons and soon hopefully to be in comic shops. And I'm hard at work on issue 2, trying to get that out. Hopefully by year's end, we'll start seeing the front half of issue 2. So kind of hard at work there, and hard at work on trying to get some prints, get some stickers, get some stuff on the store so that everybody can hopefully purchase some items.
Awesome. Yeah, and we do have some Eva stickers available
Yep.
now, and some art prints that are done by you. They're limited prints. They're all hand signed and everything, and come check them out. Check them out. You know where to find us. CatalystCrafting.com is the website, the main site. We're on all the social medias. When we're coming along, we're growing, we're getting licensing now.
Yeah, right.
It's very official.
Crazy. Very official.
But let me know. Do we need to make any more Munsters? How do you feel about Jeffrey Dahmer? Is he the hero we need or the one we deserve? All right, crew. I'll catch you on the next one.